All right, today's topic is transformations of linear functions. So what this means is basically taking a function that we have, a parent function, and talking about the transformations and moving it around the graph and how that works. So basically, we have a function, have a graph like this, our function, hold on, let's try this again. Better. Graph, function, okay? So a parent function, that's what we call this. This is our base function, the parent function, all right? And that would be f of x equals x, okay? So this is the parent function. This is where we start with. This is our base kind of baseline function, right? And it's one going 1, 1, like the graph this way, okay? Now the transformation comes when we talk about moving this graph around, or moving the function around the graph, and how we write that, and how I figure out which way it goes and how it goes. So, let's start with transformations, okay? Or, sorry, translations, okay? So, translations. Okay? So, translations, all right, is moving the graph up and down, left to right, okay? So let's say you have something like this, where you have f of x equals x plus k, okay? So if you see an equation that looks like this, right, look at the k, okay? If k is greater than 0, okay, then the graph shifts up. Okay. If k is less than 0, it shifts down. Okay. I'll show you how that is in a second. Okay. So that's basically what we're looking for. If this number here, our k here, all right, if it's greater than 0, basically if it's a positive number, graph goes up. If it's less than 0, if it's a negative number here, graph goes down. So, for example, if I do f of x equals x plus 3, right? That 3 is greater than 0, so my graph is going to shift up. Shift up, okay? If I have this, f of x minus 2, right? I'm going to block the glare here. X minus 2, right? My k here is less than 0, right? So it shifts down. Right? So my number here is positive, it shifts up. My number here is negative, it shifts down, okay? Now let's look at this. Let's add. So it's up and down, right? Now, if it's this, x minus h in parentheses, okay? So here's your next equation, right? So if you see this, and what you're looking for here is a parentheses, okay? The other one doesn't have parentheses, this one does. So that's the biggest thing here, okay? If h is greater than 0, all right, then the graph shifts to the right, okay? So if this is greater than 0, it shifts to the right, all right? If h is less than 0, it shifts left, okay? Now look, the biggest thing here is this minus sign. It's a minus in there, okay? So when you talk about if h is greater than or less than 0, you're only looking at the h, not the minus sign. So let's say you have something like this. Equals x minus 7, okay? X minus 7. So if you have this, right, x minus 7, look, our h is greater than 0, right? Even though this minus in the front, it's already in front here. I'm only looking at here. So in this case, because this is bigger than 0, this shifts right. Okay? Now if I have this, x plus 5, right? Now, this negative has turned into a positive, which means this RH is negative, which means this shifts left. So, I know that's kind of confusing, all right? But think of it this way, right? If it's a minus 7 in the middle, right, it goes right. If it's a plus in the middle, it goes left. So minus to the right, plus to the left, okay? That's only we're talking about in parentheses, okay? So now, what if we combine them together, right? What if we have this? If we have f of x equals x minus 6 and then plus 3. So we have two different things, right, going on. We have our x minus 6 in parentheses, and then we have our plus 3 here, right? So if we have this, our parentheses say it's x minus 6, which means it's a minus in the middle, which means we're going right. So this graph shifts right 6, right? It goes 6 units to the right. And here, outside parentheses, it's plus 3. So it also shifts up 3. Okay? So it shifts right 6, up 3. So if I start here with my graph, or sorry, my function here, right? This is my parent function. It would go right. It would go right 6 and up 3. So we would technically, this graph would be like over here somewhere. Okay. So that's what we're looking at. Shifts right 6, up 3. Okay. And just one more. What if we have this? Okay. So let's change this. Sorry. Alright, so now looking here, it's plus in the middle, right? So if it's plus, it's just left 4, right? And then a minus 2 outside parentheses, minus 2 shifts down, right? Shifts down 2. So left 4, down 2. Okay. So that's translations, alright? Let's talk about the next one, dilations. Dilations, okay? So now, with translations, we talked about shifting the actual function around the graph. Dilations talk about if we're going to stretch it or compress it, make it wider or smaller, okay? So here's for this. So f of x equals a x when my x is in parentheses like that, okay? So a in front, meaning there's a number in front here. I'll show you that in a second, okay? So if a is greater than 0, okay, you're going to have a vertical stretch, okay? If a is less than 0, you're going to have a vertical compression, okay? So, an example here, if we have this, f of x equals 3x, and my x is in parentheses, not the 3, just the x, okay? My a is greater than 0, so this is going to be a vertical stretch, okay? If I have this, 1/4 x with that in parentheses, right? Here, my a is less than 0, right? It's a fraction, right? Fractions are less than 0, right? Sorry, less than 1, my bad. Less than 1, not 0. This is my fault, guys. Change this. Less than 1. Okay? Less than 1 fraction, right? This would be a vertical compression. So change that. Change this to 0s to 1s. That's my fault. I apologize for that. but I'm already 10 minutes in the video. I'm not going to remake it. So this is what you get. You get editing on the fly. All right. So greater than 1, stretch, less than 1, so a fraction or a decimal where it's less than 1. All right. Compression. Okay. So change this to 1. Make sure it's not 0 anymore. Make sure it's 1. Okay. That's my fault. All right. Now, what if we have this? What if everything is in parentheses, okay? If both things are in parentheses, right? If A is greater than 1, right? Now, if both things are in parentheses, now we have a horizontal compression. And if A is less than 1, we have a horizontal stretch, right? So let's say I had this. F of x equals 2x. Everything in parentheses, right? If I have this, oh, I'm way over here. If I have this, right, my A is greater than 1. So here, and because it's in parentheses, I have horizontal compression, okay? And remember, if it's less than 1, so if I have a 0.3x, right, 0.3 is less than 1, right? So I have a horizontal stretch, okay? So greater than 1, compression, less than 1, stretch, and that's horizontally, okay? So if everything is in parentheses, it's a horizontal change. If only the x is in parentheses, it's a vertical change, okay? So just one last time for that. So only the x, vertical, if it's everything, okay, everything in there, it's horizontal, okay? So just the x, vertical, everything, horizontal, okay? All right, one more. We got to talk about reflections, okay? So reflections happen just the way it says, right? You're basically going to flip it over the axes, okay? So let's say we have this. F of x equals negative a with x in parentheses, okay? So if it's negative a, right, it means we're going to flip across the x axis, okay? So if this is the x in parentheses with the negative in front, it flips across the x. So if I have this, right, negative 3 with x like that, okay? So only x in parentheses, right? Our number here is, our a is bigger than 1, so we have a vertical stretch, right, that flips on x axis, okay? And if we have this, right, it's less than 1 here, less than 1 here, we have vertical compression, flip on x axis, okay? So only x negative in front, only x in the parentheses, flips across the x axis, okay? Now last one, if everything is in parentheses with the negative in front, right? Now this flips across the y axis, okay? So here, if we have this, right? So it's in everything in parentheses. Our A is bigger than 1. So we have a horizontal compression, and then flip on Y axis. And then here we have this. Alright, so our A is less than 1. Alright, go back to our notes. A is less than 1. We have horizontal stretch and flips on Y axis. So here, guys, I'm talking about when just this stuff, right? Look at the notes here. Look at what it says to do here, okay, and just copy it down and just see what it has, what numbers it has here. It's based on your numbers here with the X or with the H, okay? And that's how we're doing this.